I don't know about you, but I am jamming out to that music now.
Yeah, yeah,
That's some.
it's very cool, very 80, or maybe 80s, maybe new style with what is it? Daft Punk may not be together anymore, but they're together in
Oh,
my
it's
heart.
they look,
I
and
mean,
if we're going to get a Tron 3, Daft Punk better
please,
come back.
please give us the Tron 3. We've been waiting over 10 years for that
Oh
now?
yeah,
Come on,
oh yeah.
Disney, wake up, smell the coffee, take us back to the grid where we belong, and enough with this whole let's reboot Lady and the Tramp. Oh, let's remake this. Let's remake that. No. Give us a sequel that we actually want and that the people need, and that's Tron 3, with Daft Punk doing the score.
Hey, we waited 30 years for
For the
Tron
second one.
2.
That is true.
So
Tron Legacy.
are they going to make us wait 40 years for the
I
next
hope
Tron?
not, because I'll be at retirement age with a AARP card. I don't want that. No.
Did you know that you can get an AARP card when you're 16 or 18 now?
No, I was not aware of this. I might have to pay them a visit tomorrow online. Thank you for
Yeah.
letting me know. I'll add that to my notes, or should I say my to-do list for the week.
There you go. There you go. Well, so Ryan, how are you doing? I hadn't talked to you in like 4 weeks because last time when we were supposed to do the show. By the way, before we get into this, let's go ahead and let me get the show started. We're going to do this in 3, 2, 1. And welcome everybody into another great, exciting, and wonderful Geek at Birth. As always, you've got the one, the only, the golden voice of the South, the human jukebox, Dave Adams, coming to you live and in living color from the top of the state of Alabama. That's right, in Madison, Alabama, in the Unrelated at Birth / Geek at Birth podcast studios. And as always, I have brought along my friend from the sort of South, sort of North, right at the Mason-Dixon line, all the way from Maryland, Mr. Ryan Permison. Easy for me to say. Ryan, what's going on, man?
I know it's a mouthful, isn't it? No, I'm doing quite well, good sir. It is good to be here. Thanks for having me. And it's good to have you back, because a few weeks ago we had to bring in 2 friends of ours. I believe it was from the HWWS Web TV family. I believe it was Willow from the Great White North of Canada. And then you had GW Pomacher from the Sunshine State of Florida joining us, and he's wearing his snazzy purple Joker-like outfit.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, man, he looked like Jack Napier from 1989's Batman. I'm like, dang, you trying to pull up Jack Napier? You're killing me, man. But as you can see, what happened.
But you brought in the big guns, man. I mean, you brought in the boss.
I did. Hashtag like a boss. But yes,
like
I brought him in. He was cool, and Willow is a charming young person. She's fantastic. We all love her. And Willow, GW Pomacher, if you're watching this, which you're probably watching from the corner of the backstage area, thank you for coming in on such short notice. We do appreciate it. And the Geek at Birth fans enjoyed it too, because people wouldn't stop tweeting at me. Oh, Willow and GW, they're so great, you know. I'm like, geez, what about me? I'm the one carrying the load here. What about me?
I popped in once, and there was more people watching than there is when I'm on the show.
For 2 seconds. Yeah. I was like, what about me? What about Ryan? You know, just like Raven asked everybody.
I was going to say, what are you, Raven now?
What about Raven? Yeah. Never happened
when we were going to go on, I guess it was 3 hours before the show was going to go on, and I text you. I said, "Hey Ryan,
not doing so well.
You might need to find somebody else." I
fill in.
Yeah, I will give y'all the. I don't know where I went.
You disappeared.
I will give y'all the non-TMI version. I am not a normal fan of Chipotle. Chipotle and I don't mix very well. But a very good friend of mine was having a fundraiser at Chipotle. So I figured, you know what? I will go give it the old college try. And I did. The food was decent. The food was okay. About 10, 15, 20 minutes after we got home, the food was not so okay. I would go to the restroom, and 10 minutes later, I was back in said restroom. And so, you know, that would not make for good podcasting.
No.
So it was a fun night of, let's just put it that way. Let's just leave it there.
We took care of it. We rode the ship. We took care of things. And now we're back. And we have so many things to talk about. We have less than an hour to do it, which is insanity to me.
This is insanity. Okay, so we've got to. We're here to talk wrestling. This is my wrestling. This is my wheelhouse. I am a wrestling fan. I titled the show tonight, Living the Kayfabe Life. For those of you who don't know what kayfabe is a wrestling term. Wrestling got its start in the early or late 1800s, early 1900s, pro wrestling now. Got it started in the late 1800s, early 1900s with the carny folk. And so there is a lot of carny talk when it comes to old school wrestling. Kayfabe is living that life that basically you stay in character no matter who you're around. So you are basically living so it's like method acting, if you want to put it that way. You will hear some terms tonight. Heels are the bad guys.
Baby faces,
or just faces now.
Faces. Sorry, wrestling terminology, professor.
No, baby faces. They're all the same.
Okay.
They those are the good guys. But the reason we're doing this is there are three things really we got to talk about wrestling related this week. First and foremost, SummerSlam is Saturday, which is the biggest show of the year. Usually not the biggest show of the year. Oh, my buddy Kerry says we got some other terms. We got work, shoot, and mark. So work is when you are faking something, like you go to punch somebody and you just barely pull up. So a work is you work them. A shoot means that you really hit the person, or you do it in real life. And a mark is a wrestling fan that believes kayfabe most of the time. And I did say SummerSlam is the biggest show of the year. I was corrected here. Outside of WrestleMania, I've heard a rumor this year that Vince McMahon wants SummerSlam to be bigger than WrestleMania this year because it's back out on the road and outside of Florida.
Yeah, and the crowds are back.
Yeah, well, they were there for WrestleMania this year too, but it was a a huge football stadium with only like 20,000 people in it. So I say only, but normally that they would have 80 to 90. Right, exactly. So anyway, so we got SummerSlam. AEW Rampage debuted on last Friday. There is more than likely going to be a very, very huge wrestling return this Friday. Keep in mind, it is in the city of Chicago. Who is Chicago's favorite son? The cult of personality himself, Mr. CM Punk.
Oh, so he is going to come back.
That is the rumor. He has been teasing a lot. The AEW people have been teasing it a lot. And if we don't see CM Punk, I will be highly upset because I am a big AEW mark. See, I'm using our terms here. I'm a huge AEW mark. And if we don't see CM Punk on Friday with all the teases we've been getting, I will be highly upset. Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Hear some of that music in the background, maybe some fireworks going off, walking out to the Titantron.
Yep. It'll be all. It won't be a Titantron because the Titantron is the people from New York.
Sorry.
It'll be a Jumbotron.
Well, what do they call it in AEW? Did they just call it a big screen?
They just call it the screen. Yeah.
Oh, that's lame.
Well, they don't have a screen. They don't have a name for it yet because.
Well, I'm just going to use my former WWE methodology and just call it the Titantron because I like that. It's strong. It's powerful.
Fine. AE2 Vision, AEW Vision. I can get that.
I don't know. I'm a bit of an AEW fan myself, especially when the Stinger returned, last year.
See, okay, so I'm a big Sting fan myself. I'm a huge nostalgia pop guy, but Sting at 65,
62 actually,
62. He can move.
He looks like he's 35.
You are correct, but he can move. But I don't know. Watching him the last couple of weeks, he's been very hindered. And especially since we are rumored to get the first CM Punk feud will be with Darby Allin, is what the rumor is.
Oh, man.
Which will be awesome. But that also means
the Stinger will be involved.
Will be involved with that. CM Punk can make anybody look good. I'm a little worried that Stinger's going to be pulling a Goldberg and messing with his legacy.
Storyline, maybe.
Yeah. We have our friend Felipe.
Yeah, what's up, buddy? How you doing?
Yeah.
Good to hear from you, as always.
Yeah. What do you guys feel about Flair possibly being El Idolo's manager? So,
oh God.
here's the deal. El Idolo.
WWE released him, right?
Yeah. So Flair did show up with El Idolo in Mexico.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know if you know this, Ryan, but El Idolo Andrade is Charlotte Flair's fiance.
I was not aware of that.
Yeah.
Okay, makes sense. Familia, man.
Yes,
okay, makes sense.
Familia.
He can't hang out with Charlotte anymore because they kicked him out of WWE for some weird reason.
Well, no, Flair asked to because he didn't like the direction that his character was going. Flair asked to be released.
All right, that makes sense. But hey, you know what? The guy can go. I mean, the guy's been doing it for like 50 years, so he can go anywhere and get away with anything. So let him do it.
Right. I have a slight problem with that just because I like El Idolo with Chavo Guerrero right now. The only way I would be okay with Flair being El Idolo's manager in AEW is if Charlotte's contract goes up. Yeah, Ashley. Ashley, by the way, her name is Ashley Flair. If Ashley's contract goes up and she goes over to AEW, that's the only way I'd be okay with it. And you do have a true family storyline. The other rumor I've heard about Flair getting released is Flair is rumored to be trying to make an in-ring comeback.
No.
I have one thing to say.
No.
Don't do it.
No. You retired 20 years ago for a reason. You know, when you had that big ceremony on Monday Night Raw, forget it. It's done. It's over.
I think that he's the guy. He is up there like Goldberg and getting there with Sting, maybe ruining the in-ring legacy they had.
Fair enough.
So,
fair enough. Make good choices, Flair.
Right.
Make good choices.
I don't want to. I don't want to be. Let's see. So Charlotte's older sister, Megan, who lives here in Huntsville, actually.
No kidding.
Well, because Megan married the king of wrestling podcast, Conrad Thompson, and Conrad's here in Huntsville.
Wow.
And they've got, or Conrad has a daughter, so she calls Flair granddad. I don't want Megan and Conrad's daughter to look at the TV and go, "Mommy, why is Grandpa in the ring?"
Yeah, it's 750. Why is he doing this to himself?
Right. I mean, this is the guy who 3 years ago we thought we would lose forever because he was on his deathbed. So I
all about it.
Yeah, Ric Flair does not need to get back into the ring as an active wrestler. I don't want to see that.
Nope. I'm comfortable just watching his highlight reels on YouTube.
Right, exactly. The other thing I like, and Felipe brought it up here, it won't happen because there is some animosity between these guys. But
really?
Remember, AEW already has Tully Blanchard, Arn Anderson.
Jake the Snake.
No. I'm not going there. Who is Tully and Arn? Who are they?
Horsemen.
Half of. Right.
A horseman.
You get JJ Dillinger?
4 horsemen.
You put up the 4 there. There is some bad blood between those 4 gentlemen. I don't know if it would happen. But money does.
Money talks.
Money talks.
Just like the movie from '96, baby. Chris Tucker, Charlie Sheen, Heather Locklear. You know the drill.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say the other thing. I was going to say is one of my favorite wrestlers from the 80s and early 90s says, everybody's got a price.
That's right, Ted DiBiase.
Everybody's going to pay.
$1 Million Man. Yeah.
Always gets his way.
That's right. Man, yeah. Good stuff.
But anyway.
Good memories.
All right. Yeah, so there's AEW Rampage. Here's
some good stuff on Rampage last week.
There was. So Christian beat Kenny Omega so Omega lost his first belt.
Thank God. It's about darn time. And by the way, I like his catchphrase, outwork everyone. I love that.
I'll be honest though, man. I liked Omega as the belt collector. I wish. See, I wanted them to do it to play it out even more, and then he go over to Japan, and go out against whoever their champion is now. I think it's Will Ospreay now. So get the New Japan belt, but New Japan probably wouldn't play ball like that. But anyway, yeah. So Christian Cage got the belt for Impact,
That
which
made me a fan of his.
Yeah. By the way, Christian just retired the TNA belt, so there will now just be one belt over in Impact, and it is the Impact Championship. He did that in the taping this last weekend, which will air on Thursday. So that happened. Britt Baker, DMD. One, which Ryan found out for the first time that Britt Baker is actually a dentist in Orlando.
In real life.
Yeah.
In IRL.
Yeah.
I was not aware of this because she kept coming out of the ring. She's got Rebel with her and she's doing all this DMD. I'm like, what the frack are you talking about? DMD? What does that mean? A death of medical degree? Like, what is that? And then finally, backstage, Dave and I was explaining it to me, and I'm thinking, oh, okay, makes sense. And then obviously she's from Pittsburgh. So, what is it? Rampage was going nuts.
Yep.
When she walked out to the ring and she's wearing all this yellow, so she had the Pittsburgh Pirates P on her jacket. And I'm thinking, dang, if that's not a Pittsburgh fan, I don't know what is.
Oh, she's sold out Pittsburgh Steelers, Pittsburgh Pirates. She's everything. She retained her belt over with a really good match with her and Red Velvet. Big Show got physical for the first time in AEW. I'm sorry, not Big Show, Paul Wright, because he cannot be called the Big Show. And then
no more BS, as his T-shirt likes to say.
I will say this though, Rampage only being an hour, maybe it's a tight fit, especially for what they're hoping to do this week. I hope. My buddy Kerry says he's going to be excited to see Colt Cabana and a CM Punk interaction because if you remember the in real life stuff, Punk and Cabana used to be best friends, but with this WWE lawsuit, they I can't remember what it was, but I think Cabana put up a lot of money and Punk kind of screwed him over. And so it's, Colt and Punk hate each other now in real life. And so I'm afraid that those two are going to have to stay apart from each other.
Man, they're getting all these names in AEW. You got Stinger, you got Christian Cage, who's pushing, what is he like, pushing 50 now? Christian?
He's up there, man. He's up there.
You got Big Show. You got Mark Henry. By the way, I will say this, though. For Rampage, 4 people on the announcer's desk is way too much. Way too much.
I think they...
Only 2. Only 2. I don't care if your show's 1 hour, 2 hour, or 3 hours. 2 people. You don't need 3 or 4.
AEW does a 3-person desk for Dynamite. I think that they wanted to do that. They wanted Excalibur, I think Taz, and then Chris Jericho. Mark Henry does not need to be a backstage interviewer. He was struggling big time. I think he is good on the mic, but he's not good on his feet.
Too many announcers.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Keep it to Tony Schiavone and JR. They're the best. Just leave it to those two.
Well, they've got Dynamite. But then Felipe says he was hoping for Daniel Bryan was going to dethrone Kenny Omega. We also got D-Bry, who is probably going to be coming in, but it won't be D-Bry, it'll be Bry D. It'll be Bryan Danielson, his real name, coming in to AEW, we think, at the show in New York at Arthur Ashe Stadium. That is the rumor, the current rumor.
Do you know if AEW is going to be stopping by in your neck of the woods so you can go to a live show?
They have not. They came in February last year before the world shut down, and I was actually ringside. That was the show where MJF and Cody, MJF had to whip Cody with his belt, the 10 lashes. I got to see that. I got to see Kenny Omega in Huntsville, Alabama, of all places, which I never in a million years thought I'd see the best wrestler in the world come into my hometown arena. It was pretty cool.
Memories for you.
Oh yeah. I mean, and I got ringside, got my picture with Jungle Boy, got my picture with Marco Studd, Frankie Kazarian. It's just pretty cool. Although I will say, that's not the most up and close personal I've been. I actually have some good friends of mine who are up in Nashville and had Frankie, Scorpio Sky, and Cody were down, and we were just smoking cigars with them. I've got my picture made with all of those guys. So yeah, it's great. some cool times. I met them on that same trip to Nashville. I met James Storm and Billy Gunn too.
Oh wow, Cowboy James Storm, Billy Gunn. Holy cow.
Yeah, dude, that was a fun trip.
Good stuff. I hope
yeah,
I get to
man.
go to an AEW show one day when Earth is a lot safer than it is right now.
Well, sooner or later it will be getting safer.
I hope so, because I'd like to go to an AEW just so I can see the Singer and Christian Cage outwork everyone.
I will look up their tour schedule right now. Here, give me a second while we are live.
Sure. We're loving the comments, by the way. For those of you who are commenting, we absolutely love it. You guys clearly have more wrestling knowledge than I do because I quit like in 2006. But I've chimed in on AEW here and there, but that's only because when Rampage debuted last week, because I didn't, it was a 1 hour show, thinking, oh, I can get through this easily. Just fast forward to the 2 or 3 matches I care for. And then I watched Christian Cage and Kenny Omega. Thank God Kenny finally lost a belt. I'm so sick and tired of that guy walking around with 50,000 belts around his waist, and Don Callis won't shut up.
See, I like that though. He makes you hate him.
I despise people who have more than 1 belt on their waist. That's just too greedy. It's too greedy. I don't like that. Greed, for lack of a better word, is not good in wrestling. I don't want someone to carry around all 3 belts from 3 different promotions. That's not fair to the other guys. It's not fair to other wrestlers. That's just wrong, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But I am happy that Christian Cage whooped that keister because Outwork Everybody just came into Forte, and now he's 9-0 in AEW. And a guy who's pushing 50, Christian, congrats, brother. That's awesome.
How far are you away from Cincinnati, Ohio?
I mean, I'm in Maryland, so that's like...
Yeah, it's not... I mean, well, okay. They are coming to, let's see, Boston, Philly.
Philly I'd be down for, because Philly's only a 2-hour-plus drive.
Yeah, so October 6th, AEW Dynamite in Philly.
Ooh, that's a week after my birthday.
There you go. There you go.
People.
Yeah, Felipe says he likes the gimmick with Kenny Omega, though. See, that's what I like. It's that a-hole character. He is the guy that he's building himself up to be so hated that the person that dethrones him in AEW is going to be a super white-hot babyface. So, I think it's going to be great. All right, so there's our AEW talk. I'm excited. This is something
Congrats, Christian Cage.
Congrats, Christian Cage. Congrats to what the Young Bucks and all them are doing up there. The Young Bucks, Cody, Tony Khan, because it's been a heck of a ride so far. And the people up in New York and Connecticut are shaking in their boots.
By the way, the people in New York, Connecticut, who are they again?
That would be.
They are.
Oh, WWE.
Yeah, I know what it is. That was my attempt at a joke because I don't really care for them anymore.
I know. Well, so I still watch it, and I am of the opinion that any wrestling is good for wrestling. Wrestling was awesome when WCW and WWE, or at WWF at the time, and ECW were all 3 going.
Competition breeds success.
Competition breeds success.
Amen. Yes.
We are seeing AEW making good competition, but the problem we are seeing is Vince McMahon is falling into Vince McMahon patterns, and it's not working. I think that Vince McMahon needs to give up the reins. He never will until he passes away. Unfortunately,
I guess CM Punk was right.
Yeah.
With that pipe bomb back in June all those years ago. He's not going to let it go until he's dead, and then he's going to turn it over to Steph and Triple H.
But see, that's the thing. He won't turn it over to Steph and Triple H now. I would be okay if he turned it over to Triple H, because Triple H was in charge of NXT when NXT was doing its indie style shows.
Yeah.
And I thought it was great. But when Vince goes in and tries to take over his style of NXT was not run right.
Yeah. Long in the tooth, Vinnie Mac.
Yep.
Leave the business. Let someone else do it.
The business is not run like the 80s and 90s anymore.
It sure as heck isn't.
Yep. And there is some rumors that Vince is trying to sell WWE because he has sold off most of their big money contracts. Like Braun Strowman was making $1 million, he got cut. Bray Wyatt was making $1 million, he got cut.
Who's going to buy it then?
Who knows? But I am hoping that My guess would be NBC, Comcast, NBC,
Oh yeah,
because they're on the network there at Peacock. I'm
sure.
not excited about that. Um, I don't
They're
know.
gonna Disneyfy it.
I would be okay if Disney bought it. I mean,
Disney buying a professional wrestling company.
you know,
Wow, that would be stranger than fiction.
you laugh at that, but remember, Disney
Oh, they did buy Fox.
bought Fox, and then
That's
also
a lot of adult-oriented properties like Alien, Predator, Die Hard. Yeah.
Disney also allowed WCW to wrestle on the Hollywood Studios backlot.
Yeah.
So, in fact,
Yep,
Eric Bischoff. I don't know. Yep, I think it would be a great venture for Disney. It won't happen. I truly don't know who would buy WWE, who's posturing for it. I would like to see somebody like Vince buy it, or like Vince, Triple H buy it. But he doesn't have the capital unless him and Stephanie pull their money together. Carrie says you can always have the WWE experience at Hollywood Studios. Yes, please. Yes, please. I am all for that.
You and the family would be down there first thing tomorrow morning, and you'd be the announcer's booth calling the action. But maybe let me ask you this: would you and the missus ever call a wrestling match?
No.
Just you, or you and
Just me.
You and your buddy.
Me and Carrie probably do it. Me and my wife.
And my wife would do it. Maybe not so much you and the missus, but
no.
Okay.
Amanda is not, Amanda. I'm trying to say this as nice as possible. Amanda despises. Yes, Amanda despises wrestling.
Ooh, okay, I understand.
She puts up with it because of me, and she loves me. But
that's a marriage.
Yeah, it is. It is marriage.
That is a marriage if I ever heard one. But listen, Amanda, congrats for putting up with wrestling in your living room.
Felipe says AEW has a bunch of shows right now, or A&E, I'm sorry, has a bunch of shows right now, and A&E is owned by Disney. NBC Universal is the most likely candidate. I agree with
Felipe.
that.
Fair enough.
Yep, I agree with that.
Go ahead and do it.
Hey, why not? So, all right, the main event, if you will.
Yes.
A new wrestling show came out this week, and I subscribed to Starz just for this 8-week episodic show.
Nice.
Because it is called Heels, which, as we talked earlier, is a bad guy in wrestling. Not just about wrestling, so I was interested anyway. I am a very big fan of the main actor, Stephen Amell, from his Arrow days. Also, there we go. Also, Casey Jones in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Horrendous
it was not good.
Excuse for a movie. Horrendous piece of garbage. But Stephen Amell, if you're watching this, that was not your fault. That was the writers, producers, and directors' fault. You were given a horrible script and a horrible character to play. Yep. And plus, you had the buzz cut. That's not Casey Jones.
Nope.
You weren't right for the role to begin with. But hey,
I thought he was right for the role.
No, he wasn't. But you got a paycheck, and I can respect that in business. But outside of that, you're best known as Oliver Queen / Green Arrow for 8 years, who was killed off not once, but twice.
Yep.
And very well, I might add. And now you're making a transition to something even more darker, something even more serious. And it's a dramatic show known as Heels. And I gotta say, welcome to show business, kid. Arrow was a great starting point, but this is next level acting.
So here's the other thing. Here's one thing. We know that Amell is already a big wrestling fan.
Oh yeah, in fact, he took part in WWE a couple years ago.
Yep, he is a very, very good friend of why did I forget his name? I'm a big fan. Cody Rhodes. In fact, he is an unofficial member of the Elite or the American Bullet Club. In fact, I have his Bullet Club T-shirt that says Arrow Club, and instead of the guns, it's the bow and arrows.
I remember that shirt.
Yep. He actually had a match at All In, the very first unofficial AEW pay-per-view.
Nice.
So he knows the wrestling business. He's also friends with Pac as well.
Mm-hmm.
um, who was Neville in WWE. Oh, trying to forget that one.
Yeah, there are so many names.
Yeah. So Amel does know the wrestling business. He has
Yeah.
he has he's physical enough that he knows the the business. He knows how to
Mm-hmm.
wrestle.
Yep.
So he was actually doing the stunts in the ring for the show Heels.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Take it very seriously.
very, very seriously. Um, let's get into it. Let's talk storyline first. What did
Mm-hmm.
you think about the story of Heels? The first episode comes out.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we immediately learn that the Ace of Spades. It wasn't the Ace of Spades. What was Johnny Ace? I guess was his name. No,
Mm-hmm.
Johnny Ace is Laurinaitis. Some somebody Ace up against his brother. So Amel plays the heel on TV in wrestling, and
Mm-hmm.
his brother plays the face.
Ace.
Um,
Yeah.
Ace. That's right. That's right. But I think the big twist you see, Jack Spade. That's right. The big twist you see that
Ace of
Jack,
Spades. Good song too.
yeah, in real life, Jack in real life is the good guy, where his brother Ace is the bad guy. You know, he lives. They don't live kayfabe. The only person that truly does live kayfabe is Jack, the main character, because he doesn't want to be seen around his brother and all that stuff. Felipe, good to see you. Thank you for joining us this evening.
Yep.
We go through everything. We find out that Jack is maybe a little too old to be in the game. He's kind of trying to live his dad's legacy out. We also find out that that Ace is probably the hot shot, the young buck, if you will, and
Yeah.
that the people from New York are coming down to try to steal Ace,
Sign him to a contract. Sign him to a
sign him.
deal.
Right, exactly. And so the whole show is Jack trying to write this story. Do we still chase? Do we win? How do we do this? And there's this good versus evil in the ring versus outside of the ring. Um, how did you like that dynamic? We'll get into the end here in a minute. Spoilers if you haven't seen the show, go watch it. It's worth your
It's
time.
really good.
Yeah. Here in probably about 10 minutes, we'll start spoiling the end of the episode. Um, up until the first, let's say the first 50 minutes of the episode, what were your thoughts?
My thoughts were on Heels. I remember seeing a trailer for this not too long ago, and I thought, oh, Stephen Amell is a wrestler now. That's his next project. That's his next big thing, to quote a Brock Lesnarism from 2002.
Boom.
So,
Ba-da-da-dum.
exactly, you know what I'm saying. So,
Yep.
for him to do this, I'm like, okay, this makes sense. He has experience with the ring. He has experience with the business. He's worked with WWE. He's done all this other stuff, and his training, doing his own stunts on Arrow, and a lot of stuff that he did on CW, prepared him for this a lot. So I applaud him for that. I'll be honest. After the trailer, I was like, okay, this sounds like an interesting show, but we've seen these shows before. We've seen these kind of stories before, played out a million times. Are they going to add anything new to the table? Are they going to bring something new to the table? And to be quite honest with you, they may be using familiar tropes, but for me, it worked. It worked
Yep.
really, really well because this show is set in a small wrestling. It's a family-owned small wrestling business that's trying to keep up with the competition because there's all these different promotions that are whipping their tail and taking names, and they're just trying to sell tickets. They are trying to make a living. They want to support their wives, their kids, their businesses. It's a small town, and they want to support that. Kind of like Dylan with the Dylan Panthers. Clear eyes, full hearts,
Yep.
can't lose. Amen to that, by the way. So Stephen Amell is headlining this. Also, I totally forgot I saw this in the trailer. Mary McCormick as kind of like the co-manager of the
Yeah.
wrestling,
The mom. And that's the
the
mom.
wrestling mom, like the producer of the show. And I'm thinking, Mary McCormick, honey, where have you been? I haven't seen you
Right?
since In Plain Sight on USA like 10 years ago or something or other. I mean, I know you did one or two other movies after that, but I don't think I watched them. I'm sorry, Mary. But to see Mary McCormick back, that was awesome. But anyway, overall, I like the dynamics between all the characters. I like the themes and the morals that they play on here. Does the brother leave? Does the brother not leave? Does he stay with his older brother? Does he stick to the script? Does he not stick to the script? Is this going to work out for the business if he does go up north or not? All these other questions, like yeah, it's a wrestling show, but there's a lot of there's a lot of realism in the show, and you
Yeah.
feel it. You feel the tension. You feel the growth of the characters. You feel the conflict within the characters. And like I said, my hat's off to Stephen Amell and everyone else. Alexander Ludwig as Ace. You got Mary McCormick as the wrestling mom. You got the valet saying, "Hey, I'm not just a valet. I can wrestle." I'm like, well, you got to prove it, honey. Maybe she'll prove it in episode 2. Maybe she'll prove it in episode 3. I don't know.
So that's the other thing. We don't. She is the only woman that is saying, "I want to wrestle." There's no other women wrestlers in this league. So are they going to allow them?
League, yeah.
Right. Are they going to allow them to do intergender matches?
That's a big word.
It is a big word. Easy for me to say, right?
Easy rap. Yeah, but yeah, is that going to happen? Is she going to move up in the ranks? Is she going to be fired? Like, what's the deal? But I mean, if I'm going to give this a scale of 1 to 5, I probably give this like a 4.5. I really like the show overall. I think it's great. I really look forward to seeing where they take the characters. Are the brothers going to be able to come back from this? Are they going to completely split the family up and divide everybody? Is it going to burn the town to shreds? Like, what is Duffy Wrestling going to be able to survive with Ace possibly going up north to the bigger promotions?
Yep.
What's going to happen? But I liked it. I really liked it. The wrestling outfits and the moves and stuff. Yeah, you can tell. But it's a show, and it worked.
Yep. What I enjoyed about it is there was only in this episode one wrestler, and it was in the episode. It was a very, very small piece of it. You probably didn't notice it in the Battle Royal, but Doc Gallows was one of the guys in the Battle Royal of the Bullet Club. The
nice.
big guy from the Bullet Club.
There you go.
One of the Good Brothers. I enjoyed the fact that they made a wrestling show and really no wrestlers were part of it. I think that, we do know that CM Punk is going to be in episode 3. He's already made that announcement. I enjoyed the fact that it was actors playing wrestlers and the wrestling was actually decent. It was believable. I agree with you. Up until the last 2 minutes of this show, it was a 5-star TV show for me. Where I have the issues is the last 5 minutes of the show. And it does leave me wanting more. Like I was talking about with one of my friends today, Carrie. It left me wanting more. But, so the whole show, like I was saying, they were going with this theme where Jack was the good guy in real life, but a heel in character in kayfabe. Where Ace was the good guy in kayfabe, he was the heel in real life. The whole TV show, we say, okay, Jack's going to go over in this match, but they're going to do a 30, 45-minute match, give them hell the entire... It's going to be the main event of this big show. Get in the ring, Jack knocks Ace to the ground and breaks his arm. The ref calls off the match.
Or at least we believe he broke his arm. I don't know if it's completely broken, but he did really hurt it. I mean, the match was supposed to be 30 minutes, and Jack and Ace were going back and forth about what the ending was going to be. And then he's like, you know what? I don't care if you go up north or not. I don't care if I stay here or not. Because there was a lot of tension, a lot of animosity between the two. And then that unfortunately, when it plays out in the ring and that he gives him the armbar submission hold, whatever it was, referee calls for the match and rings the bell. I'm thinking, man, you built this whole thing up that could have potentially been a 20, 30-minute match. Granted, in the TV show timeline, they would just show highlights of the moves that they perform on each other, and then they would fast forward to the end. But man, I was like, geez, this could have been a really good match, and you just kind of butchered it and ruined it. And now all the fans hate. They don't only hate you, but they hate the promotion now.
Right.
Because you promised them a main event and you didn't give it to him. And then the brother's holding his arm and he's getting crap thrown at him like Hollywood Hulk Hogan did in '96 at Bash at the Beach when he turned heel for the first time. I'm like, geez, Ace is kind of the good guy. Now they all hate him, but I think they hate him as well as his brother because in the back of their minds, we know this is a show, but you promised us something special. We didn't get that.
Well, but that's I think the other thing that we're going to see in this is how much of this small town Duffy, Georgia, how much of them realize it's a work versus a shoot, and how many of them are true marks. I mean, are they? I don't know. I don't know. And Carrie makes a good point. It's modern day Vince not giving the crowd what they want. So, I are we supposed to boo Jack in real life? Are we supposed to see him as the villain of the show now? Are we supposed to see Ace as the villain of the show? I truly don't know where we're going with this thing. Most episodes, or most first episodes, the way they leave you wanting more in a good way. I am looking forward to Sunday. Well, I will be on a boat next Sunday, or this Sunday coming up, so I won't be able to see it.
Are you going to be on a boat or a van down by the river?
The river? No, I'll be on the boat. I'll be on a boat somewhere in the Caribbean Sea, the Gulf of Mexico. Yeah, I will be on a cruise. But
be safe out there.
I will. So trust me.
The world is still kind of on fire, so please be careful when you're on that cruise ship.
Yeah, I know.
Because we've heard some stories on the news. I don't know if you've been watching it, but there have been some stories.
Daily. I know. But the ship I'm on is going to be very safe. I have already seen all the precautions. There will only be about 600 people on this boat, whereas it'll be about 40. It's a 4,400 capacity ship where there's only 600 people on it, so it will feel like a ghost town. That's
a lot of breathing room.
Yeah, it will. But Carrie makes a good point. Says, yeah, thank you. It did exactly what Jack was talking about in the episode, though. It left us wanting to tune in next week.
Oh, yeah. Like, I don't know whether to be upset or wigged out or whatever, but I'm thinking, dang, that's a heck of a cliffhanger. And this show's got a set of cojones to leave us on that kind of a cliffhanger. I'm like, dang, this is only the pilot episode. And already I'm not sure what to think of Jack or Ace or even the people working backstage. Like, what does Willie think about this?
Yeah, what is Big John? Because Big John said he's going to retire.
Yeah, it's like, what? I don't know.
So this is what I was saying. Most shows leave you wanting more after the first episode with a cliffhanger, a fun cliffhanger. This one leaves you wanting more because you just want to see what's going to happen next. I would equate this not as much of a cliffhanger, but I would equate this to 24. Every week you have a heart attack when you see that ticking clock at the and so it's very close to that because.
What is happening at 8 o'clock?
Right, exactly. What is Jack going to be doing now? Do people demand their money back? Is Duffy Wrestling done? Is Ace going to go to New York?
Bankrupt the business?
Right, exactly. Jack's already spending more money than he's raking in. His wife is already mad at him for what he's spending. So it will be a very.
How are the GoPros, honey?
Oh, such a good line. Such a good line.
You do realize that when you buy something, since we're married, we get notified of when each other purchases something. By the way, does that go the same for you and the missus when she buys a new pillow and you buy a new Funko Pop?
No. Although, when I do buy them from Target, she gets the notification.
Oh, from the Red Card app?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, yeah, honey, we bought something at Target, and it's called a throw pillow. How many?
Yeah, that's all it is.
Oh, yeah, 600.
Yeah. But yeah, so there's Heels. I'm very much so looking forward to the next couple of episodes. There's 8 episodes, so 7 episodes left.
That's tight. That's a tight season, and I like that.
I do too. Really quick, because we're bumping up against our hour here, Ryan.
No.
But I know so much. I feel like AEW Rampage, right?
Seriously,
so much to talk about.
So much to do in so little time. As our great friend Jack Napier taught us.
Nicholson,
in 1989's masterpiece known as Batman. So much to do in so little time.
Yep.
Photos.
So here's my TED Talk for the day.
Uh-oh.
In this day and age, I understand that you want to do episodic television.
Yes.
But most people don't watch episodic television anymore. In this day and age, if you're going to do something like this, Starz, if you're going to do something like this, Netflix, Disney Plus, I'm looking at you.
Disney Plus especially.
Binge worthy is the way to go.
Mm-hmm.
If you put all 8 episodes, I would be useless for 8 hours.
Yeah.
So why not? You've already, well, I get it now because Starz has me for 8 weeks at the bare minimum.
There you go.
But if I like Heels, I'll go and find something else or something else. See, now I'm not even logging into my Starz account except for on Sundays or the day or Monday morning to watch last week's Heels or last night's Heels.
Yeah.
So while I get the business model that they're trying,
because it's working for Disney Plus.
I don't like it. And
I
Carrie
know,
has a
and to be quite honest with you, I know Disney Plus is doing this, and I know What If just started, and I need to sit back and watch that. But here's the
so
thing
good.
about What If. I'm going to wait for all X amount of episodes to drop, and then once they're all dropped, then I'm going to go in and just binge watch the whole gosh darn season.
Right. Yep. That's
That's
it.
what I'm going to do because people are already talking about episode 1. I'm like, yeah, it's Captain Carter. Great. Well, let me wait for the other 4 or 5 episodes to drop, and then we can start talking.
Yep. So real quick, while we are ending the show, I have one thing I need to show you, Ryan.
Oh, show and tell.
Vamp for a moment.
Okay, no problem. By the way, for those of you who are watching us live and you are commenting in the comments section, we really appreciate you. Absolutely love it. Carrie, we absolutely enjoy your comments. And Felipe and everyone else chiming in, we appreciate you. As a meme once said, or is it a meme or a GIF? It's one of the two. I apologize. Did you find your show and tell item?
I did.
What item are you going to showcase for us this week?
I finally got my Grail.
Oh, it's a Grail.
It is my
Duel on Mustafar, aka from Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, aka Star Wars.
Yep, it is my Duel on Mustafar Funko Pop.
I'm just curious, where did you purchase this item?
This was on eBay.
Oh, really? You didn't get it from our friends at $7bucksapop.com?
No, I did not, because $7bucksapop.com, every time they put it up there, 2 seconds later, it was gone. But I got a very good deal on this one. I paid less than it is actually going for on PPG right now.
Oh.
And I'm shocked that my buddy Carrie has not made a comment about this. No, this one is not coming out of the box.
Oh, it's not coming out of the box.
I have 2 Funko Pops that are still in the box. This one and the Walt Disney Sleeping Beauty Castle.
Oh, the castle. Yeah, I figured you wouldn't take the castle one out because that one's extra special because it's Disney.
Exactly. So my 2 Grails are staying in the box. Now everything else I'm an out of box collector, but the ones that I know are high dollar products are staying in the box.
You know, speaking of high value products, do we know if Starz is going to put out a line of Funko Pops for heels?
Not yet, but I'm sure that will come.
And if it does come, will you be purchasing those items?
Possibly. The more like collections like that I start, the more pillows show up at my house. So I don't know. I probably won't be purchasing. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how they look.
You always say no, but then at the end of the day, the best word in the English language is yes. Just like Daniel taught us, yes.
But his best character was no.
But I don't want to hear that.
No.
The best word in the world is yes. Just say yes, George. Yes. Yes. I said yes to Funko Pops from Seinfeld because it took him forever, but the Seinfeld Pops are finally out.
Yep.
So I got my Pops. Plus, I got the Funko Fred Costanza t-shirt that says Insanity Now. Or no, Serenity Now.
Serenity Now. Later. Yep.
Insanity later. Yeah.
So
anyway, you say no, but I deep down in your heart of hearts, and you folks in Alabama, you're going to say yes.
Yeah. We'll see. Have you, in the last couple of weeks, have you purchased anything fun for your collection there, Ryan?
Well, Funko Pop wise, no. I'm still waiting on my pre-orders of, what was it, Mandalorians?
Yep.
Who is it? Rosario Dawson. Why
Ahsoka.
am I blanking? Ahsoka, thank you. Ahsoka and Dad Bod Boba Fett. Waiting on those two. Because Boba Fett is badass. Absolutely he is. And I'm waiting for my Kramer and Newman Pops that I had on pre-order from a while back. Hopefully they'll come in soon. But as far as items I've purchased a lot of books recently. That's been fun. I've also purchased some new threads for the new school year because this is my final semester. I'm going into college.
Nice.
So that's kind of a big deal here in the state of Maryland. And then also I made a Walmart run earlier this evening, and I bought a whole bunch of DVDs and Blu-rays. I got the Batman Superman 9 film set that includes the original Christopher Reeve, Brandon Routh, and the Tim Burton / Joel Schumacher films. I got a 5 film set of Western films. One of them is Forsaken with, speaking of Jack Bauer, Kiefer Sutherland and Donald Sutherland, father and son.
Yep.
Great Western film if you haven't seen it. It's an indie film, but it's great. 3 film set of Deep Blue Sea because apparently there was a Deep Blue Sea Part 2 and Deep Blue Sea Part 3. So I got the trilogy of that. I know, right? And then what was the other one I got? Oh, yeah. miniseries from a couple years ago on the History Channel. It was called Hatfields and McCoys with Kevin
Such a
Costner
good,
and the
yep.
late great Bill Paxton. Bill Paxton.
Such a good miniseries, and R.I.P. Bill Paxton. Every time I think of a tornado, I think of Bill Paxton.
I got to go, honey. We got cows.
Yep.
Speaking of, remember the 1980s film The Lost Boys? That's Jamie Gertz, the same actress. I'm like,
yep.
dang, star from The Lost Boys? She has not aged a whole lot from the 80s
Nope.
to the 90s, my friend. Plus, she was
speaking
Jerry Seinfeld's girlfriend once.
Oh, she was, wasn't she?
She was, yes.
Before we leave, speaking of Kevin Costner, I have to ask, did you watch the Field of Dreams game?
Not the full-length game, but I saw the highlights, and I was so happy about that because if you build it, he will come. And I hope to visit the Field of Dreams in Iowa. That is one of my all-time goals in life, is to visit the field, soak up the sun, feel the spirits of baseball come upon us, and also feel the spirit of my late father, God rest his soul. He took me to a few ball games for the Baltimore Orioles back in the day, so I want to go to that field. I want to feel his presence. I want to honor my father's memory. I want to see the field.
Good.
I want to see all the players come out from the corn, and I want to watch a game with Shoeless Joe Jackson. That's
I don't
Joe
think that.
Mott. And
I don't think that'll happen.
Joe Hodges, like all those guys. Hey, that's more. Hey, that's Smokey Joe Wood, and Mel Lott and Gil Hodges.
Yeah, such a good movie. I actually I watched.
It's in my top 10 films of all time.
Oh, same. I watched the first 10 minutes of the game, saw the Kevin Costner intro and all that, and then I watched the movie.
Were you crying buckets at the end?
Oh, dude. That is one of the movies that it's okay for a man to cry during.
I think it's okay for any man, woman, or child to cry at.
Right.
Period.
And then
have you watched it with your family? Have you watched it with the entire family, including the little ones and the missus?
Haven't watched it with the little ones, but I have watched it. So we watched it with Amanda this week.
Did she cry?
So my wife is one that likes to poke holes in movies and find the plot holes. And so at the height of this movie.
Yes.
When every man, woman, and every man just boo-hoos. Hey, Dad, want to have a catch?
I'd like that. Yes.
I'm sitting there sniffling, tearing up. Mm-hmm. She says, but wait a second. His name is John. He's been calling him John. Why all of a sudden does he answer to Dad? Who cares? He wants to have a catch with his dad.
When he meets his granddaughter, when he meets Karen and was it Amy is his wife? Is Amy his wife?
Yeah, Amy, I think.
When they meet him, she said, "This is your." Well, wait, no. Let's not give too much away. This is John. Hi, John.
Right.
But she doesn't want to give away the fact that that's her grandfather because she doesn't want to, because he's dead.
Right,
she doesn't want her to feel sad, but that's the reason. But then when he addresses him as dad, when they're alone, it makes complete sense. It's like, hey, we know each other's secrets, so we can tell each other because we just can't tell you. Your wife gets it, but we don't want to hurt your daughter's feelings. And by the way, Karen is played beautifully by Gabby Hoffman.
Yeah,
Gabby Hoffman. It'd be a little girl, and then she was in Uncle Buck as the smart aleck child. Great job, and those movies came out the same year. That is nuts.
Really? I did not.
Yeah.
I thought there was a year in between.
Maybe a year into, but even so, those movies came out within less than a year of each other. And then she was in Volcano as Tommy Lee Jones's daughter, all grown up as a teenager. And I'm like, dang, this girl has grown up to be.
She was Hayden Panettiere before Hayden Panettiere was cool.
Perfect example. So yes, Field of Dreams, one of the greats of all time. If you are watching this and you have no idea what the frack we're talking about, go on Google, go on eBay, go on Amazon, buy yourself a copy
right now.
Stream it, do whatever it takes, because if you build it, he will come. That is a fact. It is a fact. It is not a dream. It is not made up. If you build it, he will come. Now, what does that mean to you? That's up for you to decide, because it's open to interpretation.
Yep. The whole movie is all about interpretation. And yes, it is a supernatural movie with baseball wrapped in. So
backdrop.
Yeah, just when you get into it, know what you're getting into. But there you go, Ryan. I think that we had a very successful show this week.
I'm inclined to agree. You know, the wise man once said, "There's only so much to do and so little time." But the
Yep.
key in life is to have fun. That's the
And
best thing you can do in life is have fun. We got a brand new show that's lighting up the interwebs with Starz Heels, starring Stephen Amell. And by the way, Stephen Amell has moved on from Green Arrow to this. Great career move, my friend. You're choosing parts, and you have chosen
wisely.
and I'm proud of you for, dude. Speaking of '80s films, Field of Dreams and Last Crusade came out in the exact same year. How can you beat that? That's awesome sauce.
Good grief. 89 was a good year for
Dude,
movies.
89 was bonkers. You had Back to the Future Part 2, you had Field of Dreams, you had Ron Howard's Parenthood, you had Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. And
Good grief.
What's not to like about the 1980s, especially 80? I mean, all of them were great, but 89.
Well, especially 81 was a great year because that was the year I was born.
And
but
Raiders
anyway,
of the Lost Ark came out.
Yep.
Happy 40th.
Dude, do we have to remind me how old I am?
Hey,
I
look,
know.
man, you don't look a day over 21. Come on now.
Except for the gray hair,
Except for the little gray hairs, maybe maybe the missus may disagree, but it's, hey, it happens.
Yeah, you know. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining us this week. Ryan, you can find him on Nerd Culture and then all the other shows that he's on. He's on like 20 of them.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for having me. It was great to be here.
Yeah, Ryan. Every time we do a show, it's a fun deep dive with you. You can find me on Unrelated at Birth. You can find me on Geek at Birth. This show. You can find me on Top of the World, the DVC podcast. But guys, thank you so much for joining us. We will see y'all in 2 weeks. And remember, it's okay to be a little geek and a little normal because deep down, there's a geek inside all of us. Guys, we'll see y'all in a couple of weeks.